Welcome to episode 71, our 3-year anniversary! Woo! Join us as we celebrate this roller coaster that has been Witchy Wit.
We'll talk about our favorite episodes. We'll talk about some really neat stats on countries where people are listening and cities where people are listening.
And we just talk about the fun that we're having.
Join us for the fun.
Stay tuned. Welcome to the Witchy Wit podcast, where we look at life through a witchy lens. I'm Kimberlyn.
I'm Leilani.
At Witchy Wit, we explore current events,
ideas,
music and books,
and experiences in ways that recognize energy and life in everybody and everything.
We are both real witches.
And we bring two real perspectives through the lens of our different ages,
races,
and backgrounds.
With a healthy skepticism for what we have been told is true, our conversations are raw, candid, and vulnerable.
Join us as we cast a spell to uncover what we each know is true in our intuitive, witchy selves.
Welcome to episode 71, our 3-year anniversary! Woohoo! So exciting!
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
That's how I greeted you today when I came to your house.
Yes, you did. And think about it. Would you have thought 3 years ago when we were sitting outside talking about this that we would be like 3 years in?
No.
Solid
light, no. Just like, would I have thought that?
Yeah. Maybe we need to share with our listeners what that is.
What that is.
Oh, I can share.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a mutual friend who always gives me like the most wonderful little things. And I went to visit her at her place of business, and she had this button on her desk that has a number of different ways of saying no. And as our listeners probably remember, that's a challenge for me. And that's something that I've been working on. And when I saw the button, I said, oh my gosh, I've got to get one of those. Tell me where you got it. And she literally just handed it to me. She said, I'll get another one. You need it more than I did.
I think that's a real good friend who's like, no, you take it. I can get another one. You need this.
You need this more than I do. Exactly.
She sees you.
I feel so seen when I'm with her. So it has a number of different ways of saying no. And you just heard one of those. So, wow. Yeah. 3 years.
3 years.
3 years. And we have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
When it comes to 3 years. But before we do that, how about we just kind of check in and see where we are?
I'd love to do a check-in and then dive into our 3 year.
Sure.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. I'll go first. So I have been I've been working on some health issues. Not super bad, but I did some blood work, and my HA1C, whatever that number is kind of high, which is like pre-diabetic. And this has happened before, and I was just a little frustrated with myself because I have good habits generally, and just things got sloppy. And so one of the things that I had committed to doing, because with some of the plans that we have coming up, was getting a lot more walking in. And when I was in Ireland, I was walking something between 6 and 8 miles a day.
Wow.
Which was and it was easily done, right? And so and I planned on doing that when I got back, got COVID, got lazy, a whole bunch of things, and, life happened. Anyway, so I got my blood results. I don't know when they came in, but I finally decided to go to that patient portal. It was like, because normally it's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. And I went to the patient portal and I saw the numbers and I was thinking, oh my God. So I've started walking, like right after, a couple of times during the day, not a whole lot, but, right after I eat, so I can get blood glucose going to the muscles and stuff. And I feel better already. I wasn't doing it to lose weight, but I've already lost weight. I think, I don't know if it's in my mind or not, but I already feel a little bit more energetic. That's it. I feel more energetic, and I'm already sleeping better.
Oh,
because,
yay.
So I'm kind of angry at myself. I'm trying not to beat myself up about it because I know this, and I just gotten lazy or lackadaisical. I got pretty lax, about stuff that I already know. So it's good because now I'm back and ready to get in there and get exercising and eating even better and stuff like that. So that's where I am. Check.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Just for me, thank you for sharing how you said, like, I'm kind of getting angry with myself, but, and then you, I just appreciate it hearing the, like, human response and then how you notice it. And then, in my words, you would, like, redirect it.
Thank you.
Move with it into a different energy.
Thank you. Well, thank you for witnessing my process. I appreciate that. I feel seen.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you. What about you? What's going on with you?
I had an experience yesterday. So normally after work, I go down to the gym and I train handstands or echo or do something like that. And when I came I've been coming out of the gym and it's still light outside,
right?
Which is fine. But I have been telling myself, I can't wait till I come out of the gym and it's darker, because that means that it's getting darker earlier. So every day when I leave the gym, I like look outside and what I really want is for it to be the dark time of the year.
Yes.
And all of that, and all of the things that brings for me. And so yesterday I went out to my car and it was dark.
Whoa. What?
Now I stayed a little later.
Okay.
But
wow.
I don't care. I'm going to take that as a good sign.
August 30th. Okay.
Yeah. So we're moving there and I'm craving cooler weather. I'm not going to get the numbers totally correct, but the numbers for San Antonio and our area, like, we've had more consecutive 100-degree days than like
previous years.
We beat the record, and then we beat the number we beat the record for the hottest summer this year as well. So I'm feeling it, and as somebody who spent a month in Las Vegas last summer in the desert, I'm like, geez Louise, like, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So I'm craving the cooler weather. I'm craving the dark. I'm just craving the darkness.
Yeah. No, may I ask a question about this? Does this flip, like, when we're coming out of the dark time of the year? Are you looking forward to the bright and the summer? So you're just anticipatory.
I think I anticipate the darkness. And then I notice and appreciate the light. Oh,
okay. So it's really it's not like every season you're okay. It's, you want the dark.
I do.
Period.
I do.
Okay.
And then I also I do appreciate the light coming, and I am excited about summer and the things that brings. But this is more intense. Like, I anticipate the darkness more.
This is your jam.
Yes.
This is your jam. Okay.
And then I'm not like grumpy about the summer coming. I appreciate it, but it's not as like, I'm not walking out of the gym and being like, oh, the days are getting longer. Yay! I'm just like, oh, the days are getting longer. Oh, the summer is coming. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay!
So I'm really excited, and I've really been enjoying the dark time of the year approaching. One way I have been marking that has been very commercial. Those of you who have listened to previous episodes know that I went in July to Cracker Barrel to get some Halloween things, because Code Orange begins July 5th. I've continued with my relationship with Holy Sacred TikTok.
because they give you those early alerts.
Oh.
That nowhere but TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have like-minded people who are out there scouring the stores to let you know when things are available?
Yes. And I found there was a pillow at TJ Maxx, and I found it. I saw it on TikTok, and then I went and I was able to find it, and I would like to show you.
Oh, okay.
I would like to show you what it looks like, but I found it and I fell in love with it. And I mean, I'm not a pillow type person, so this pillow is about half of my body height.
What?
Isn't it cute?
Oh my gosh, that's adorable! It's kind of, it's like would you say silhouettes?
Yeah.
Of witches holding hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. I guess looking away or towards us, I'm not sure, but it's just their silhouette, so you can't tell. And they're holding hands, and they have like witch hats on. Oh, and they just look so sweet. And it's black on a white pillow background. Oh my gosh! So the pillow is probably like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's pretty long. It's pretty long.
And where did you get it? TJ Maxx?
I got it at TJ Maxx.
TJ Maxx?
Yes.
Like what?
Yes, thank you, TikTok.
The one over here? I mean, just...
Yeah, the one over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What? It just never occurs. I go to TJ Maxx when I need a skirt or a shirt, and I forget about all those wonderful seasons. I need to just shop more.
I am not a shopper.
Me either, yeah.
Except for Code Orange. Code Orange is when I honestly spend probably, I don't know, aside from like Christmas presents, I probably spend the bulk of my like, I buy things money. Yeah. Like in this season because I'm picking up witch pillows.
Witch it.
Yeah. Witch it.
Yeah.
I'm picking up witch it. So.
What?
So,
I'm impressed.
All hail the dark time of the year. It's coming. All hail my spending habits around the dark time of the year.
You know, it sounds like your soul lights up, right? Or darkens up. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it just you come alive.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay. Yay. Well, congratulations on your find.
On my pillow.
That Code Orange worked for you. You were able to get there in a timely manner and beat out the other people who, because Code Orange wouldn't be a thing if there weren't lots of people who were into it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I do want to say, I messaged my partner the picture of the pillow and I was like, should I get this? Because I'm not really a pillow I don't know. I don't decorate like that. It's not my thing. And he was like, I don't know. Like, it looks cool. Like, whatever you want. Like, just kind of a non-committal answer. I messaged my sister and her response was, yes, period. Do it! ! And then she called me and she's like, I just listened to your podcast episode where you're talking about community. And this is a pillow with witches holding hands in community. Yes, you need that pillow. And I, just like your friend, just like our mutual friend,
yes,
I felt totally seen.
That's right. I mean, it's the picture, but it's the symbolism and then what the picture would mean to you as opposed to anyone else who looked at it, right?
And then I looked at it and I thought, the witches are holding hands. Like whenever we cast a circle and we say like, hand to hand, the circle is cast. And so now I'm like looking at the pillow getting teary-eyed in the middle of
no, you're not a
TJ Maxx. I'm like, oh my God.
The cashier is like, so will there be anything else? No,
we're casting the circle on the pillow. His credit card, please.
Yeah, it's like, tap or swipe. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. This is just so wonderful.
Thank you. I love you too. Thank you.
And the next time I come to your house, I must see your pillow.
Yes,
so
I have it
sit
out.
on it or kneel back against it. I'm not quite sure exactly how you're going to work it in your decor.
It will be out. I can't wait to show the witches who come over.
Yes, lovely.
Well, speaking of witches, how about our 3rd year witchy anniversary of Witchy Wit?
Witchy Wit. See,
3 years.
We'll be so we're going into season fucking 4.
Season fucking 4.
I mean, think about so okay. Now we can, because we didn't want to talk too much about it before. But I'm just thinking, we were sitting literally like we I guess we met for a couple of months before we actually recorded. But it was the middle of the summer, not quite as hot as it was. And we said, how about we do a podcast?
I did. I pulled over into an HEB parking lot because I worked up the courage and I needed to do it because I'd been afraid to ask you.
Oh my!
For weeks and months.
Well, the beauty of it is that it happened when it needed to happen. It was it kind of follows the academic year, and our lives kind of surround that too. So if we had done it earlier, maybe not. But wow, 3 years.
And we sat on your yard 6 feet apart, and you would set out the lawn chairs.
Yes, that's right. And we'd have some beverage to drink and sit there and figure out what was going on.
Yeah. And we brainstormed ideas for our name.
Oh my God, I'd forgotten all that.
And we brainstormed music. Like we divided up like who would look into different things and like our podcasting platform and...
That's right. And equipment. I mean, all of that stuff. Yes.
We knew nothing.
We knew. I just know a little bit more than nothing now.
We still really know nothing.
Yeah. But we know enough.
Yes.
Well, obviously for 3 years, we knew enough.
Yeah. And just so our listeners know, in case you forgot or you didn't know, the two of us do everything.
Yeah. We
have no podcasting training, or any sort of
podcast 101. We never did that.
PR or technology. Like I'm a teacher.
I'm a teacher.
Yeah, we just kind of figured it out.
We read we got on the internet.
Yeah.
The holy source of information, the internet.
Yes.
And and
the high priestess typing on her computer.
I know. Well, so this whole idea of the longevity, that's a part. I mean, I knew we were going to do it, and I knew we'd have fun, and we said to each other, when we stop having fun, that's when we stop. And so I guess we're still having fun.
I'm still having a blast. I'm still enjoying it.
Well, one of the things that we were doing was thinking about what were our favorite episodes of the last season, And it was hard for me to kind of narrow it down. So I'm still having fun. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and I started looking ahead. You know, what are some of the things that I look forward to us continuing or doing? And there's so much more that I want to do.
Yeah. Same.
Yay.
Same.
Yeah.
Well,
let's jump in because of course we always start our we can say that now, right? Because
right?
It's like our third year.
Our third year, yeah.
We always start with data.
Yes.
So
I just love data.
Yeah. Get that
so I used I went and looked at our podcasting platform that we use, and I just picked up some interesting facts that I thought would be
some fun facts
that really tickled my fancy, and I hope they tickle our readers' fancies too. So these are some facts about our third year of podcasting.
Yay.
About season 3. So cool to say.
Yeah.
Season 3. So our top downloaded episode for this season was episode 63, Cultivating Joy, Brene Brown Guidepost 4.
Yeah.
So that had 251 downloads, which was pretty significantly more than our average episode. Yeah. So do you have any ideas why that might be?
And we may have discussed this, or I don't know, these thoughts might have just been bouncing around in my head. But I think one of the things is that Brene Brown is such a, so she's an iconic figure outside of out in the real world, out in the dominant culture. And her ideals and her thinking so resonates for the way I live as a witch. And so I think that for the majority of people out there, our listeners included, I can really talk. I can use my words. I'm just is that she is who she is, but what she has to say resonates for whoever you are. Right? So I suspect we probably got a lot of other people listening to us who would not normally listen to us because Brene Brown was there. And just as she would appeal to witchy listeners, she appeals to Christian listeners. She might appeal to Muslim, it might, in terms of religion, she might appeal to atheists, but she might appeal to people who are doing 12 steps or who are kind of maybe still kind of resistant, but something in her words is drawing them, and they may not know why, or they may be resisting and the whole bit. But that's what I think. I think Brene Brown, has this ability to touch people wherever they are.
Yeah.
And so that really pumped up our numbers.
I think so. I imagine, and I like to think that I kind of have fantasies about somehow the algorithm worked us into somebody's way that would maybe probably wasn't a witch. Yeah. And then they listened because of Brene Brown. And I just like to imagine these non-witchy folks.
It's like she's our missionary hook, right? Like we can missionize to other people or something through Brene Brown.
And either they're like, and they might be like, this is this is like a peek behind a curtain that I'm not used to, sort of thing. So I love that idea of maybe that happening. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that on social media and other places, because I tagged her, it likely
you are so smart.
It reached out to people who follow certain hashtags. So
I love you so much.
Again, I didn't know anything about this when we started.
But as we divided up our tasks, giving you social media was it's probably a no-brainer, but it's also a move of genius because regardless of what you knew going in, you were able to kind of figure out the ways that, what people wanted to hear when you do your little excerpts of what we are. So you managed to encapsulate that really nicely so that our those things that you put on social media.
Audiograms.
The audiograms?
Yes.
So our audiograms are attractive. There's one that I just let it, because it repeats if you just let it go. I just listened to it over and over again. I can't remember which one it was, but it was about 4 or 5 months ago, and I was like, oh my God, I love this.
I love our audiograms. I think they're very fun. So we
fun.
do have shareable content on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So if any of our listeners are interested in shareable content and you want to share a chunk of our recording, feel free to you can hop on social media and bloop, and pass
tag
it
us
right
or
over.
retweet us. Well, not tweet because we're not
We're
on
not
Twitter.
on Twitter.
We're not on Twitter, but
Or X, which is now called X, but
X, yes, the formerly called Twitter.
Formerly the platform formerly known as Twitter. Oh my gosh.
I know, but we could another discussion for another day.
Yes.
How about some more data?
Some more data. Okay. Yeah. Stepping outside of just season 3, our all-time number 1 downloaded episode is episode 27, Samhain Redux.
Redux?
Yeah, Samhain Redux. Yes.
Or Samhain 2.
Samhain 2, Samhain Redux.
So our second, okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is at 677 downloads. And that was the Samhain bump that we've talked about. Yeah, we normally get a bump around Samhain. Mm-hmm.
Because witches just want to hear some podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, you're getting it's seasonal. You know what it is? It's like people who play Christmas music or turn on the Hallmark Christmas movies. Yeah, they get the Samhain podcast lined up, and they listen to them all. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Also, funny thing about episode 27, that is one of the only episodes we've accidentally recorded not through a microphone and through the computer, so the audio quality is the worst. And if that is not an exercise in me just being like letting go and letting it be what will be.
Because I guess we could. How would we record? I guess we'd have to script it and just record the whole thing.
Yeah.
No,
that's not gonna work. That's not. I don't think that's in alignment with episode 1, Living Authentic Lives.
Good memory.
And then, speaking of episode 1, just because we always check in about this, episode 1, which is frequently downloaded, I think, because people will hop into a certain episode and then they want to go back and kind of see where it begins. Episode 1 has 630 downloads. Wow! So it's our second most downloaded.
Okay, amazing
episode.
Yay.
Yeah. So then, moving along, our most viewed TikTok post is the one that I did for our episode on ritual planning with 882.
Wow.
Views.
What? Mm-hmm. Wow. Do you have any? Could you hazard any?
I have no freaking clue.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I'm sure somebody I'm sure someone who is a professional would be able to figure it out. I don't know. I love all of our shared content, but we normally average like somewhere between 200 and 400 views per audiogram on TikTok. So I'm not sure why, but I do love ritual planning.
Maybe someone else tagged it or something, or they saw it and they mentioned it, and other people say, "Well, what are they talking about?"
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
Our most viewed YouTube video is Brene Brown, as our original Brene Brown episode, with 58 views. So YouTube is not connected to our podcast sharing platform, so it doesn't count towards our like downloads or anything like that. It's just totally separate, something that I just upload so that some people like that platform and like to have it up that way. So but I thought that was really interesting. That's like way more than we normally get on YouTube. Yeah. So for some reason, again, maybe
see with
Brene Brown.
Yeah, on YouTube, if you probably type in Brene Brown, it's going to come up.
Something like that could come up.
People would, because she has her own, maybe like her TED Talk and stuff. So she has some videos up there. So or maybe she just saw. She said, "Oh, people, if you want more information about me, just go to the Witchy Wit podcast." That's my dream.
I know. We're gonna someday. Run into her
at the lake.
At the lake. At her lake house over in Houston. Oh, I love her so much. Okay, our top countries that we're listened to. Of course, the first one is the U.S., but then it gets really fun from here. Okay. Then our next. So this is going in descending order. So the number 1 is the U.S. The next one, Germany.
I have no idea why. What's going on there?
Some witchy Germans over there.
Witchy Germans, yeah.
Next up, United Kingdom.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's lots of witches over in the UK. I think, but then Canada.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't surprise me either.
This next one is going to make you happy, I think. Next up, Ireland.
What?
I know.
Oh my gosh! Yay! Good, because those. Those Irish people. I could see us being there. Yeah.
Then let's travel to the other side of the world, Japan.
What?
I know. Huh. And then let's hop right back to Europe, to France.
Oh, okay.
Then coming for us, especially this summer, Spain.
Yay. Yay.
And then Argentina.
Argentina.
And then rounding out the top 10, this one really interested me. United Arab Emirates.
I'm speechless. I can't even hazard how we got there. But
I have no idea. And I would just say, any of our listeners, if you are in any of these countries, we would love to hear from you and just know how you connected to us and what it's like being yourself over there and like...
And listening to witchy wit stuff.
Yeah. And like, how do you show up as a witch in your life in another country? Like, we would love to talk with you. So anybody who's listening, please reach out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
I guess on YouTube too you can.
You can message us on YouTube, and we also have an email.
Yes.
The witchywitpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. Yay!
So those are the countries. Now, I would like to take a deep dive into the cities.
Oh, sure.
So our top cities. Number 1, San Antonio.
That's not a big surprise.
That's not a big surprise. Okay. That's where we are. Pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure a lot of it is our circle and stuff.
And we'll talk a little bit more about our listeners too.
Yeah. Then next up is Austin, the closest city. The next after that is Zapata, Texas. I don't know where that is.
I don't know. I want to say it's where we're... Okay, here we are. I want to say it's Southwest, but I could be wrong. Okay. Yeah, we'll look that up.
Okay. Following that, Houston. Brene Brown, is that you?
Yeah. You're listening to us. We know. Okay.
Okay, then it gets really cool. Next up, I don't know how to say this. Frankfurt am
Main. Frankfurt am Main. In Hesse. In Germany.
There we got the Germans.
Yay!
Please reach out to us, German witches.
Yes. Auf English or auf Deutsch.
And then after that, New York.
New York. New York is a hell of a town. Yay!
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. And then I think the cities have changed from the last time you did it.
They have.
So.
Yeah. They have. Most people listen on Apple Podcasts, and most people listen from their iPhone.
We know that. We know that. We know what they listen on. Oh, that's gonna.
I know, it's a little bit weird.
I know. It's like we're all in your stuff, girl. People.
And then we're sitting at our all-time downloads at 11.9 thousand. So.
Yay.
I'm so excited.
I am too. Well, I remember we did a huge dance at, was it 10,000?
It was at 10,000.
10,000 downloads. Yay.
Yeah. So those are our statistics. I just think it's really fun.
It is. And I think, I don't know, it can be kind of abstract because, like I said, we're not doing it for numbers. We're doing it because, well, for a lot of reasons, one of which is probably... one of which for me is I love having these conversations with you, and I love the idea of sharing it with people. It never occurred to me that could be a thing, right? Yeah. And so that's why I do it. And the fact that other people are listening is always nice to hear.
It's kind of cool. And this is something, and I'm an extrovert, this is something I never considered, but for me, podcasting feels like I'm having a great conversation with you. That is amazing. But then it kind of feels like I'm just like putting it out into this void.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's really neat So if anybody is listening and they're thinking, oh, I don't want to bother them by reaching out, or 50,000 people are reaching out. Nobody is reaching out.
Wait. No. No, they're not.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
So feel free.
Please reach out and like share your experience. And I love to get to know the people on the other side of this microphone.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's start talking about some of the people who listen to us, because one of the things you'd said earlier about, I can't if it was the countries or whatever, about what's your experience as being a witch, and I'm going to hazard that while that's probably a great number of our listeners, that's not necessarily always the case. So I know we have a huge a number of our circle who are devoted listeners, and they often talk to me and share things, and that's always so wonderful to hear and to talk with them about.
Sometimes I feel a little embarrassed isn't the right word, but like vulnerable or seen whenever someone will come up and say something to me, and then I'm like, how did they know that? And then
Because you told 50.
and then I realized I spoke into this microphone voice.
You told the whole world.
And I told the whole world, but I just didn't remember telling like that person.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's there's a kind of there's an intimacy that's involved in this, in when we share, that we forget. I mean, we're cognizant. We're not, we're cognizant of the fact that there's a microphone here, but as in our conversations, we forget sometimes that this is going out to the larger public, and it's always, I mean, we're not embarrassed, or we wouldn't be doing this, but it's always interesting to hear out of our conversations what struck people, right? Sometimes it's something, where it was a momentous share for me, and then hearing someone say, "Oh, that really, it really struck me," is, I feel really seen. But often it's something that we were just and we moved on, and someone said, "Oh my gosh, when you said that, I had to just stop." And literally, someone said this to me about 3 or 4 months ago. That when you said that, I had to stop and process. And they said, I think they were driving, I'm trying to remember now, I think they were driving their car, and they said they just turned it off, and then they drove for a while, and then they replayed it about, I think they rewound it, or whatever, not rewound it, but... Okay, this is coming from an analog girl. But they went back like maybe 30 seconds or a minute or something, and then they listened to it again, and then she said she stopped it again and drove for a while in silence, just kind of processing, and then went back a little bit and then listened to it again and continued.
Wow.
But it was something, it was almost like a throwaway. Not a throwaway, nothing. When I think everything that we share is in some sort of way an important part of our conversation, a valued part of our conversation, but it's not something that we were focusing on.
Yeah.
And it was something that was really meaningful for her.
Wow. I'm gonna drop a term I learned this season. These parasocial relationships can be really powerful.
Look at you pulling out the terminology.
Vocabulary.
The parasocial relationships.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I know they're powerful for me.
Yeah.
Like on the podcasts I listen to, I feel like I know them. They don't know me, but I feel intimately connected to them.
Yes. No, that's very true. That's very true. Some of the podcasts that I listen to, I have a similar feeling, I think.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to mention about our listeners.
So you said you shared that they've like given us some really great feedback.
Some really good. It's again, sometimes they say, "Oh, I really loved when you talked about, say, Samhain or whatever," and then or topics, or as I say, things that were meaningful for them. And then there's a couple of friends, one of our mutual friend who gives me feedback on, the sound quality was like really bad on that one. You might want to consider. So it's like we get a range of feedback, and it's all valuable, and it's just I find it really, really enlightening. First of all, that people listen, right, and then the ways that they share their experience with us. So
I think that's really cool. I think it's really fun. There's a woman that I'm friends with at a place where we spend some time together, and so we're around each other some. We don't spend a lot of one-on-one time together, but I see her frequently, and I think she's awesome. And she listens, and she is a huge fan of you.
Oh, cool!
And she has never met you.
Oh, that's so funny.
I love listening to her talk, and I love listening to her say things, and then talk about your laugh. Your laugh, by the way, is one of the things that most people mention to me.
Really?
People love your laugh.
Okay, now I'm self-conscious.
I love your laugh.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay, good. Now I'm not laughing. It's like when you tell your 3-year-old, "Okay, honey, walk over here. Look how she walks. She's so adorable."
Right.
It's like all of a sudden you freeze up.
Yes.
So,
Chandler Bing smiling for the camera. Any friends? It's a Friends reference.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
So
now I have performance anxiety over my laughter. And this is interesting. One of the things that I have found in terms of people that I've talked with that listen to the podcast It's just ways people listen. So I have one friend who, a mutual friend who listens, and she pretty much, if the thing drops on Friday, she's listening to it, on that weekend. And one day she said, "Yeah, I noticed your podcast dropped late." I said, "Well, yeah."
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Calling you out.
Yeah, call. Yeah, no, in a very loving way.
Right.
Because she's eager to hear it.
Yeah.
And then another friend of mine, she said she waits until there's about 4 or 5.
Oh.
And then she, and I think that's how she listens to all of her podcasts, and she'll, she likes to kind of like delve into the experience and let that become her world for a couple of hours. And yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. I never thought about how do people listen to us, like what are the, how do we fit in your world, I guess? How do we fit in your day? Not necessarily your world, but in your day.
I listen to us while I drive.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Huh. What do I guess I listen to us while I clean. Yes. But I do a lot of things because I spend a lot of time cleaning. But yeah. I think what it is because for me, this is it. I listen to us because it's really just reminding me we've already had the conversation. So I can clean and I can do this and listen to us and enjoy it, but not have to think about it as much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Though I have said, I don't think I put this in our outline. One of the things that I have found is that sometimes our conversations, and maybe I'm getting ahead, something will come up for me sometimes from after we've had a conversation where I realize I'm still processing. Like we just start something, we scratch the surface, and then I'm really still working on it for a while. Oh, yeah. And I know when this topic comes up, but where it's something that keeps coming back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's true for me too. Again, like we wouldn't still be doing this if it wasn't. We both agreed.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't still be doing this if it wasn't fun and engaging and
meaningful.
And it's sometimes I feel like whenever I say we have a podcast, I haven't figured out a way to really communicate that. It's not just that I feel like I have something to say and I want people to listen to me. It's that when I share space with you meaningfully and we talk about things, I am better for it.
Oh, me too.
I learn from you. I learn from myself. I learn more about these topics. And I'm challenged to step up in a way that's authentic and vulnerable and to like confront what I think and what I believe and be clear about it.
Yeah. And as you probably would recognize from some of my past discussions, I strongly feel that we don't have enough of these conversations in the world, right? Mm-hmm. But every time anyone, not just us, but anytime anyone has this conversation, we're elevating our frequency. So we have made that comment less applicable, that there's not enough of these conversations in the world. Every time we do that, we chip away at that ratio, right? And proportionately raise the vibration of the world. And then I think when people listen to us, just by virtue of our voices saying that same stuff again, every time it happens, we like incrementally change the world.
So would it be.
And
so it is.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So
maybe some of our favorite conversations that have changed the world from this season. Would we like to share those?
Sure. I don't know if they actually changed the world, but they were my favorites. So
sure.
Yeah. Would you like to start?
Yeah. So my number one, it was easy for me to think about my favorite, and it was episode 50, a Samhain conversation. Mm-hmm. And that was you and I were at a retreat with some other priestesses from our circle, and they were so gracious to allow us to record a conversation. So we're at retreat, we're sitting around a dining room table, we plop that microphone right in the middle, and without a script, we just started talking about Samhain and things about Samhain and like favorite Samhain traditions and how they view Samhain, when is Samhain, when is the dark time of the year. And just being in community with these women, I remember just sitting there and thinking, oh my gosh, I am so lucky that I get to be around all these unique powerful priestesses that, and each woman at the table brings something totally different.
Totally.
You know?
Yes.
Awesomeness in a different way. And I am better for being next to them and learning from them and priestessing with them and learning from their priestessing and learning about the things that they bring, the magic that they bring. And that conversation, I think about it so often.
Yeah. Well, and again, like I said, and it's a value to us because we're part of that conversation and we learn, but it goes out to other people too. And I'm not necessarily saying we teach people about being, a witch, but we do share our experiences. And this was an opportunity for us to share experiences of other really, really super powerful women. And I just think that every time that voice is heard, those voices are heard, that it just makes it so much more available to us as a society and as a world. And those gals were bringing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So if you haven't listened to that episode, that's episode 50. And one of the really cool things about that episode is that a lot of the women that are sitting at that table, we've also done individual episodes.
Exactly.
So then you can just like go down a little bit of a rabbit hole there and like listen more to the pagan feminist astrologer.
Yes, exactly.
So it's just really cool.
It was very, very cool. So maybe I'll share one of my.
Sure.
So this is so interesting. I went back and looked through the list, and it was so hard for me to choose one. I thought, okay, I went back and I chose one, and I said, okay, that's what I'm going to say. And then my eyes kept scanning. I said, oh no, I really want this one. And then I went back, and then I finally decided, not because, well, for a number of reasons, but the one that I chose on was the magical power of play. And what resonated for me was that we just recorded the episode on fun.
Oh, I had not thought about that.
Yeah, and so it started again. It's one of those things where, like with our podcast, with our episodes, things will come up for me that I need to sit. I mean, we record like an hour that we share. Sometimes it's a little bit more, and some gets edited out. But for the most part, it's pretty much what we're saying. But we kind of create an outline of where what things we might want to cover, and most of the time we follow that outline. But sometimes we go into the weeds or whatever, and so in an hour it's done. But a lot of the things that arise for me from that can't be handled, can't be addressed in an hour, and I need to sit with it and maybe journal with it. So maybe we need to have come back to a number of our episodes, but in this case. This and a part of that earlier episode was just how we individually, you and I, approach play and getting more play in our lives, and the ways in which we resist, etc., etc. And then the fact that we had another episode, it was slightly different, right? But fun as opposed to the magical power of play, meant to me that this is something that's still a part of our processing, right?
Yeah.
And I as I listen back to it, it's kind of funny how some of the things, we talked about totally different things. It's amazing how different they are. But some of the things that we talked about are, the difficulty in trying to make sure that we allow that side of ourselves to flower. And just how universal that need is. And so that was amazing for me, just to get an opportunity to circle back to a topic that we touched in a slightly different way, right?
Wow, that's cool. I had not even considered that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I felt as if, as we were talking about these kind of things, that the fact that it keeps popping up is really significant. And I actually need to sit with that. And I know some of the reasons, right? We addressed it in our first episode, but it's something that it doesn't quite explode my head, but I feel like, there's, some pressure building in there, and I need to do not need to, but I would love to do more work around that.
Something that is similar to what you're saying, but slightly different, is I feel really affirmed as we record episodes whenever we circle back to previous episodes, when we mention them, or we say, oh, we kind of touched this in this episode. And for me, it feels like it adds a sense of authenticity of we're speaking about these things that are in this orbit around us that are important to me. And it's like this weaving of this web.
Or our spiral. That spiral where you come again. But hopefully each time you come, you touch on this issue, you've raised your vibration a little bit. So you're a little more mature. So you handle it in a different way, right?
Yeah. So I love that. And every time we do that, I feel it's affirming for me.
Exactly. Me too.
I'd like to share one other fun episode that I wanted to bring up. I loved our Samhain shopping episode.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Mostly because I just loved going shopping with you.
That was Well, we were off site, right? We were out in the real world. That's right. I remember we were trying to talk into your phone.
We were trying to talk into my phone. We tried to use my earbuds. That didn't work. So then we just were talking into my phone, which was weird. But
out around people.
Yeah,
who are kind of not really staring at us because people doing Halloween shopping or Samhain shopping, they've got their mind fixed on their the eye on the prize.
Yes,
and we were no weirder than I think a lot of other people, or if we were, they were going with it, So, but yeah, that idea of being out there, and we went to 4 different locations, and that was really cool.
It was really fun, and I still love my Ouija board doormat.
Oh my gosh, mine! I kept saying I was going to take it in. I ended up never taking it in. So I think I'm going to switch it out because I have another Halloween a doormat that I haven't put out now in 2 years. So I keep saying I'm going to switch it out, but it hasn't gotten switched out yet. Yeah, I love mine too.
Mine is sitting out there, happy and proud.
Yes. Hopefully ready to divine for anyone who comes to your door.
Yes, hopefully warding off people that wouldn't like that. But.
Saying no, so I know we said we were going to pick one episode, but I'd like to. This is an honorable mention. How's that?
Okay.
And we touched on this. We touched on this earlier. The Brene Brown, the power. I loved our Brene Brown episode. So the one where we talk about Brene Brown, and then we decided to start talking about her guideposts because they were so meaningful to me, and it seemed like they were for you
me too. Yeah.
And so that idea of really delving deeply that's it. So like I say, we have an episode, and then we go on to another episode, and then we go on to a different episode, and this is an opportunity to really dive deeply into a number of different aspects, but of one mind, from coming from one soul and one viewpoint. And so I really love. And this is I think I alluded to this earlier. This is definitely the things that we talk about when we work with Brene Brown really brings up a lot of stuff for me to do some personal work with.
Same for me. Same for me. I feel so called to the way that she dives into these core things about humanity.
Yes,
I think they're true for everyone. For all people. And I can only really talk about my own experience, that it's just powerful. And when we do an episode on it, I know going in, when we write that on our calendar of what's going to be next, I kind of take a breath. All right, here we go. Like I'm making this pact, like here we go. Like, because I think that's something that's really powerful. And I see you doing it too. Like we show up and we're like, okay, like, we're going to be vulnerable and honest, and here we go.
Yeah, where's you going to take us? And I know that it's going to be ultimately wonderful and satisfying. But I also know that it's going to be ripping off some scabs. Yeah, to heal, to build stronger muscles, you've got to break down muscle, right? So we're breaking down to build up.
Oh, I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And she's good. She's really good for that.
Yes, she is. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Brene.
Thank you, Brene Brown.
So,
how about our future?
Yay.
We just talked about our past.
Yeah.
We're moving into season 4.
Damn.
You said, fucking 4.
Fucking 4. It's just season 4. What? I mean, I'm trying to think of the number of things that I have done consistently for 3 years. Certainly not exercise, as we've noted. Listen to the earlier part of this podcast, this episode. But you know what I mean? Just what have I done consistently that I didn't have to, right? For every couple of weeks for.
Yeah, we're moving into like bachelor's degree territory.
Yeah, we should get. Well, we do get a prize. We get the reward of blah blah blah. But I think we need to do a rite of passage eventually. Maybe at 5 or something.
I think that's great.
A cruise. We'll do.
Oh my god, that would be so fun.
Or something. We'll figure out something. Yeah,
well, speaking of a cruise, I mean, we're not going on a cruise, but we are going on an adventure.
Yes.
In season 4,
looking towards our future. We're going to. How did this come about? This came about the way most of the stuff that we do came about. Leilani came in and said,
"Hey, so I have this thing." So something that I love doing, for example, whenever I traveled around China with my sister and my niece, when I go places, I like looking up the witchy things that happen there, and I had just become acquainted with the Camino de Santiago for what I don't even know how, and a friend of mine were considering going. We were kind of talking about it, and then she had a baby, so it was like, I'm either going to get pregnant or go on the Camino with you, and she ended up getting pregnant.
There we go. Okay.
Which was great.
Yeah, it's great.
And then I had another friend kind of bump into it some. So it's kind of been like in my solar system, for a while. But I got curious, like, what is this thing? And then and then I'm always wondering about the witchy background behind things. And so then I did a dive on that. And, turns out this Christian thing is actually like super pagan.
Yeah, there's
like
a pagan underpinning.
Like most things, I think. There's this pagan underline, right?
Well, I mean, think about it. Christianity's only existed for 2,000 years, right? So there you go.
But I think like our dominant culture just stops at the Christian. And I'm always like, no, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
Back.
Way back. So when I found out that there was this really cool pagan history behind it, that sold me.
Yeah.
So then that went from like, that's like a cool thing to like, I need to do the journey to the end of the earth.
Yes. Yeah. The Camino Primitivo.
Yes. I want a death journey, please. Now that. Yes, please.
Yes. So Leilani came in with some of this information. And I had known about it for years, and it just when you first said it, I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing."
Yep.
And then I don't know if you brought it up again, or maybe I went online and started doing some research, and then it was like, and maybe, and then I don't know what happened. I think we just finally said last year or sometime, let's do it next year. And so that's all to say that next year. Leilani and I are going to be doing in June. Are going to be doing the Camino de Santiago, the Camino Primitivo. And I think we're going to maybe incorporate some of that in our podcasts.
I would really like to,
to do an episode.
I would like to do some episodes about our journey. I would like to do some episodes about the history behind it because you're a historian.
Yeah.
I'm just an armchair nosy pagan person.
Nosy pagan. Nosy pagan person with an internet.
That's right.
Yes,
I'm channeling my high priestess modern witch card on that internet. But I would love for us to share that because, and one big reason is it's hard to find information. I mean, you and I are both like digging, and we're not finding much.
That's true.
I'm finding like little pockets of snippets, and then I'm like, but there's no like hub resource for it, and there's no like real robust information
discussion about it. I think so. We can add to the body of knowledge, and we can keep people apprised, and that'll give us motivation to like start and actually finish it. Because it's anywhere between let's see, in miles, maybe 9 to 18 miles a day. So where you're walking, you're literally walking. It's a pilgrimage. So I guess you could do a pilgrimage in a convertible, but
I did have someone ask me if we were going to drive it, and I was like, no.
Oh, so what I find, can I share about the? So I had another. So having talked about this, all of a sudden people are coming out of the woodwork that in all these unusual places. When I was in Ireland, there was someone from San Antonio, but I didn't know this. But talking with them in Ireland, I discovered that they're doing the Camino this month in September.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that there's this whole group of people in San Antonio who get together. It's a social thing, and they hike together. And I didn't know this because So anyway, I said all of this to say, that one friend was talking about it, and she had done it, and we wanted to go. So the Camino ends officially in Santiago. It's the Camino de Santiago, but the pagan version of it had continued on to the most westernmost part of Europe. That was called Finisterre, which is the end of the world.
Which I didn't realize until you told me that.
Okay, well,
I was like, oh, Finisterre.
Yeah,
like, that's
yeah.
the way I read it. I was like, Finisterre. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it's the perceived farthest west point.
Yes,
obviously they didn't have like GPS services where they could like really know, but
like
that's
measure
what
Ireland versus Spain or whatever.
But that's what they thought was the farthest west. They thought it was the end of the world.
They thought it was the end of the world. And so this friend was saying, instead of going to Finisterre, you should go to Mejia because it's a prettier town, and etc. And she's not understanding the concept that I want to go to the end of the world, to Finisterre. Mejia is not Finisterre. And she said, but because, Finisterre is not really nice. She said that when you get there, there's like all these places where people like burnt their clothes and, throw their shoes in the ocean. And it's like, because it's kind of one of the traditional things you do when you get to the end of the world to show that you're dropping so much. Mm-hmm. You burn your clothing or you throw your shoes in the ocean. It's a fucking
witchy ass ritual.
Exactly.
That is a witch, and I want to see mounds of burned shit.
Now, she's going, well, when you go to the beach, there's all these mounds of burned clothes.
Yes.
And it's like,
give me mounds of burned things.
Yes. I need a yes button.
Right.
Like, yes, thank you, more, please. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we have coming up, mm-hmm. is all of this discussion around our exploration, around the actual walk, probably our recuperation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I hope we can include that in the podcast.
Yeah, we'll definitely have more of that we'll have some more stuff on our Patreon
mm-hmm.
page,
mm-hmm.
Which is a great way to support us. Mm-hmm. Obviously we've said this before, but we both have full-time jobs. This is our hobby. I am not a social media expert, although I that's like what I do.
Girl, you're so much better.
And you're not like a trained audio editor.
No, but we figure it out.
We figure it out, right?
Sometimes better than others, but like when we remember to turn on the
microphone. Oh my god, our most downloaded episode is not through our microphone. We just sat here talking to the microphone. It wasn't even on.
But we learned. Now we check religiously.
We do check.
Mm-hmm.
So our Patreon is a great way to be a part of that, to join us for some additional content and to help support us as we head over there.
And one thing that I find as we look to the future, I'm on a number of I get a number of podcast newsletters because of material that I've downloaded, and I'm just interested in it. And one of the headlines that constantly come up in these newsletters are, what are the ways in which you can find topics to talk about? What happens when you run out of things to say? Well, we have a list that's continually getting longer of potential topics. Things we'll be talking about something in an episode sometimes, and I'll run and add it to our Google Doc that has a list of topics, because we've got so many. So many. I mean, we'll be in our rocking chairs,
right? Yeah,
with the microphone on its own little rocking chair stand, continuing this, because there's so much. There's so many conversations I want to have with you.
Thank you. There's so many conversations that I want to have with you.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited that we will continue to have these conversations until we feel satisfied.
Whatever that be.
But the topic, that not having a topic is not going to be what causes us to not have conversations anymore.
That's where we're definitely in the minority. It's like, we've got plenty to say, but we don't know if people want to hear it.
That's true.
But we certainly, the two of us do. Yeah. So we'll just keep going, and we'll keep the mic on. And
yes, keep the mic on. Must remember that.
Yes, indeed.
And then, and so we'll keep doing that. We'll keep putting stuff on Patreon, and I'm just so grateful. So thank you so much to our listeners, and for those of you who are over on Patreon, thank you so much for your generous support as we figure all this stuff out and balance our lives and
keep sharing.
And
Keep sharing. Thank you. So our poem is called Old Mother, and the poet is Linda K. Hogan, who obviously is a poet, but she also is a playwright, an author, a novelist. She's an environmentalist, and she writes short stories. She's currently the Chickasaw Nation's Artist in Residence and has won numerous awards. So she sounds like somebody I want to party with.
Sitting on the large stone, Old Mother says, I feel it breathing. And it is, as if she opened the world life where everything does breathe like the waves of far ocean, taking in air, giving out the cloud waters, passing over us right now.
The bison breathed this air, she says, and people from other nations. Don't you hear it all singing? Even the stars above, hidden by daylight, the waters beneath us, and the first cry of your children when they arrive from the birth waters to air.
She is the one, showing a way, as she points her feather. Every path is right, she says. It matters not which one you follow. Just breathe and sing as you pass along, loving every other traveler.
Oh my gosh.
I have goosebumps.
I love that. Okay, anyway.
She's a traveler. She's a
traveler.
Just like we'll be on the Camino.
On the Camino. Yes, this is so exciting. Thank you so much for your support for 3 years. I mean, obviously, and for listening to this episode, but for listening to us, for those of you who have, for 3 years and keeping us going.
I'm deeply grateful.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
We hope you have enjoyed the magic that has unfolded here at Witchy Wit.
It would be great if you would help make Witchy Wit possible and get access to exclusive content by donating on Patreon.
We'd love it if you join our Witchy community and enjoy shareable content on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Would you do us a big favor and support us by rating and reviewing us wherever you get your podcasts? It's free and helps witchy folks find us.
Feel free to email us at witchywitpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from our community. Reach out and let us know what's brewing in your cauldron.
New episodes are released every second and fourth Friday. Follow us on your favorite podcasting platform so our episodes go right to your playlist. You can listen as you ride your broom.
Stay witchy, y'all!